That is a QR code. And if you take your phone and you scan that now, pause this, scan it, it'll take you through to a website. So QR codes are quite simply like a barcode. And what you do is you scan them either with a QR code reader, or if you've got an iPhone, with your iPhone camera, and it will take you through to a predetermined website, or it might take you through to an email or something along those lines. And they're a really good way of getting people from kind of paper-based or sign-based or something on a screen to actually something they can download or use or visit. Now, a good use of these could be exercises. If you have the type of clinic where you have to give people exercise information, you could use a QR code to get people to scan, and it takes them through to a particular exercise that you want them to do. So let's give you a couple of examples. You might have a patient come into your clinic who needs to do a certain type of exercise as part of their rehabilitation. Now, you can give them a sheet detailing everything, all the instructions. You can tell them to go and visit YouTube to go and find the information. Or you can, and you see this commonly and there's nothing wrong with this, you can actually get their phone and video them doing the exercise so they can check up on it later on. And that element of personalisation is great. But what if you had a video you'd done already and it was hosted on your website or maybe on your Facebook or on your own YouTube channel, and people could just scan that code and it takes them straight through to the exercise which they can view on their phone? That would be really cool. Or what about a patient who's had a procedure such as nail surgery, and you give them the standard post-operative advice on how to dress your toe? What if there's a QR code at the bottom of that piece of information which they scan and it takes them to a video which shows them how to redress the toe? How cool would that be? This isn't about adding tech or adding complexity for complexity's sake. This is about adding something which could be really useful for your business. It's something which is only limited by your imagination. I've used QR codes in the past to direct people to papers when I've been presenting on stage, or to get them to download the presentation later on. They just scan it from where they're sat in the audience. It works sometimes. It's worked really, really well. But the limit is really in terms of your imagination. And as we become more au fait with these kind of things, people are looking for opportunities to scan QR codes. As an example, my youngest, he found a QR code on the back of his book. And it was only after we'd had a conversation about QR codes and he saw one on my computer that he said, "What's that?" And I told him about it, and he wanted me to scan it to get the extra stuff from the back of this book. So QR codes are a great way of adding a dynamic variable to something which would otherwise be a bit flat and maybe a bit boring. And it's also doing something different to what other people are doing. And you will see these QR codes absolutely everywhere. Now, I've shown you that one, you're going to see them absolutely everywhere. And I challenge you, sit down for half an hour and think, where could you use something like that in your business, which is going to add a bit more flavour, add something a bit more dynamic to the stuff you use already. And I bet you could come up with loads and loads of examples of where that would work. And you're probably thinking, well, they're going to be really difficult to produce. They're going to be really hard to produce. And actually, they're not. That one I put on my phone, which I showed you on the video earlier, that one was done very quickly just while I was setting up all the video equipment. It was done very quickly online, it was free, it was downloaded very, very simply. They are not hard to do. So my challenge to you is, where could you use a QR code in your business to add some dynamic content to the stuff you already have? I bet there's loads of places.